Deep South College Football Podcast, brought to you from the great state of Arkansas. I'm Mason, and that is Justin. So as we go forward from here, we're just gonna have kind of random-ish episodes.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to do one a week, but it's not gonna be like a consistent topic. There's not gonna be games. There's not gonna be. Obviously, we'll talk about big things that happen in the sport, but we kind
Yeah.
of had a little bit of a slow period. I mean,
Yeah.
between
Well,
the
there's
transfer
really
portal ending and the national championship, there really hasn't been a whole lot of.
no. And I mean, we could sit here and break down, well, this kid's going here or this kid's going there. But, like, honestly, me and Mason don't have the resources to do that right now. Hopefully, we'll grow to a point to where we'll have somebody breaking down all that stuff and they give us what we need to talk about and stuff like that. But right now, I can't go and look at a kid from UNLV that's in between, Michigan and Missouri and Alabama and where I think he's going. And, like, I just can't, I don't have the time to do that. And neither does Mason, obviously. We've got our own lives to live and go on. And, Mason's been handling some personal stuff. We were supposed to go live Thursday, and he had some stuff come up, and I do too. So that's just kind of like the bigger we get and the more time we can dedicate to this, more than we already do, obviously we're going to be able to go deeper and deeper into processes and, the transfer portal and stuff like that. But this is a dead period, like you said, Mason. Like, before spring ball, there's a lot of things that are going on that there's really not much to talk about. We can talk about the Kirk Signetti. He's going on his tour, and he's talking about things that are really abnormal, and I'll bring that up in a little bit. But, like, right now, it is a dead time in college football. So that's kind of where we're at. Obviously, we're going to stay on the college football path. We're not just going to go start talking about, overseas soccer or Canadian football. But there might be some topics in the show from time to time that might not be necessarily just college football based. It's more opinion based, but it's always going to be sports oriented.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll start with this since it's not really pertaining to college football, but it is football. Super Bowl Sunday.
Yep.
Everyone around the country is going to Super Bowl parties, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Are
they're
you
getting
a big
ready to
Super
watch
Bowl?
the commercials and
Are
stuff.
you a big Super Bowl like party guy or not really?
Okay, if my team was to ever make the Super Bowl, no, I would not. There's
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah.
If Arkansas ever went to the national championship, I would never have a party. Like, I don't want to be around.
I'm the
I
same
don't want
way.
to be around anyone that has an opinion, and I don't want to be around anyone that doesn't care. I just want to,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
The biggest I'll never have a party same way for playoffs unless Ohio State's like not playing, or I'm not having one for the Michigan game. I'll have one at the beginning of the season. Like, Mason and a few of our friends came over for the Texas Ohio State game this year, or last year, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
But that's pretty much the extent of it. Like, I'm not having a big party. A lot of people have like 50, 75 people at their house for the Super Bowl. I don't think I'll ever do that. I'm more like, I genuinely enjoy like watching the game, even if I like it's not my team. And I feel like when there's so many people around, especially if you're the host, you're not watching the game much. Like, you're worried about somebody putting a Coke on coasters, or did you get enough to eat? Like, oh, the chips are in here, the ice is in here. Like, I don't know. Which I don't enjoy hosting parties. Like, I'll have Mason over, but Mason's been at the house. It's like, dude, whatever's in the refrigerator, get it. Whatever's on the counter, you can get whatever you want. Plates are in there. Leave me alone, essentially. And if you need something, ask me, and I'll tell you where it's at. I'm not coming to get it for you.
Yeah, I've always been that way though. Like, I've been to Super Bowl parties because, like, I know some Chiefs fans,
Yeah,
and I mean, they're all like talking and enjoying the time together and all that. And I was like, if this was the Dallas Cowboys,
yeah.
I don't want to be around y'all. Like, I don't want to
No,
talk to y'all. I don't want y'all to ask me questions. I don't want to be poked or prodded whenever my team
yeah,
does something bad. Like, I want to be left alone.
yeah,
Um, and that's
yeah,
kind of how I am for a lot of even Arkansas's games. Obviously Arkansas hasn't been to anything significant in a while, but like, I don't want to be around people while Arkansas's playing literally anyone. That it could be a big game. I don't want to be around anyone.
Yes. So here's what I'll ask you, Mason. With the Super Bowl, um, tell me who do you think is going to win? Well, we're not going to break the game down, obviously, but who do you think is going to win?
I don't even know if I know who I think would win. I mean, I would say probably the Patriots just based on
Yeah,
defense, and I think
yeah,
Drake May's a little bit better than Sam Darnold, but
yeah,
it's not even like a thing of like I can't give you an actual. That's just me shooting in the dark. It's more of
yeah. I don't.
I
Yeah,
would rather. I don't know. I want it to be a good game. I want it to be an entertaining game more than anything.
that's
Like
where I'm
whoever
at.
wins,
Yep.
I just want it to be a good game.
Yeah, I like Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's
Mm-hmm.
one of my favorite players. Obviously, he's a Buckeye. He won Offensive Player of the Year, and like I think it would be really cool if he got MVP if he went really crazy. But I really do like Vrabel, Mike Vrabel. I really like him as a coach. I'm kind of the same way. I want it to be a good game. I don't want it to be a 10-7 game. I want it to be like 35-38, like come down to the last seconds. Um, my next question, and I'll answer it first, and then you can answer it. What is your favorite, like, if you can remember, it doesn't have to be last year, it can be 10 years ago. What's your favorite uh, Super Bowl commercial? Obviously, like the Budweiser one's always a good one.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a heartstring puller. Um, and I can't remember if this came out on the Super Bowl or if it was just an NFL 100 commercial that kind of was brought out around the Super Bowl. You remember the one where Marshawn Lynch is like kicked back at like a award ceremony and he knocked the ball off the cake and
Yeah.
Mike
I just
Single.
watched that on TikTok earlier while
Yeah,
I was sitting here.
I reposted it. That's probably one of like the most like just awesome commercials and the way that they kind of introduce like all those players and like they didn't say who their names were, but like if you know football, you knew most of them. My favorite commercial that I know for a fact was released around the Super Bowl was the Doritos commercial when the mom is getting the Mason, you have a kid. What's it called when they scan the stomach with the thing and show the baby?
Oh
Come on,
God, what's
Mason.
that word? It's
Uh,
like a I don't know.
ultrasound. Ultrasound.
Ultrasound. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Okay. So when they're doing the ultrasound and the dad's like in the background eating Doritos, and you see the baby's hand like following the Doritos, and the dad
Yeah.
took the Dorito chip and threw it, and the baby like it pauses for a second, and the baby comes out. Like that's like iconic commercial. Like one of the best commercials and that's one that like I vividly remember. There's obviously ones that happen every year that you like laugh at and people talk about for like a year, but like that Doritos commercial was one that like I still remember.
I'm trying to think. Like I said, I've never really been one to care about the commercials. Like every once in a while, if I want to see like funny commercials, I'll look up on YouTube funny Super Bowl commercials. But
Hmm.
it's like the Doritos one, or
Yeah.
there was one where it's like a time machine. Also, that's also a Doritos one.
Yep. Doritos was crushing it back then.
Yeah, I think they probably get the crown, but like I can't think of one in particular that I.
And I think a lot of it has to do with like now, like back when we were kids. I'm talking about like commercials we won't remember, like 8, 9, 10 years old. Like our parents would actually sit down and watch the commercials. Now,
Mhm.
do you feel like you really have to be in there and watch all the commercials, or do you know like if there was a good one that you missed, you're gonna see it tomorrow or something on
Yeah.
TikTok or Instagram or Facebook? Like I just don't feel like there's as much of an emphasis on like, hey, y'all be quiet, let's sit down and watch these halftime commercials.
Well, and as everyone would know, because I've been reminded about 10,000 times in my life, the Cowboys haven't been to a Super Bowl since 1995, and I was born in 2001. So
Yeah,
I haven't really had a rooting interest in any Super Bowl. I mean, I've had some hate watches
yeah,
that have went both good and bad, but most of the time I'm just there to watch a game, and I'm a social. At instances like that, I'm social, so I don't ever really pay attention to
yeah.
commercials
And
that
like
much.
I'm the same way. Like if I'm out at a party, I don't like. I'm like, okay, there's a commercial on whatever. But like tonight, I'm just gonna sit here and watch it. I'll probably end up watching it on my phone because Randy will want to watch a movie or play the video game or something like that. But like I'll just watch it on my phone and I'll kind of pay attention to it. If there's a funny one, I'll whatever. But I'm not just gonna glue myself to the TV.
Okay, here's another Super Bowl question that doesn't have to do anything with the game. What is your favorite performance that you've seen, a halftime performance that you've seen?
The
That you can
50s.
remember?
Yeah. So was it Jay Z? No, it wasn't Jay Z. It was Dr. Dre when he had 50
Mhm.
Cent and Snoop Dogg and Eminem and like all them that were there. That was really cool. Obviously, I think we missed out on a lot of cool Super Bowl performances like Prince and stuff like that. A lot of people didn't like it. I didn't mind it. I didn't mind the Rihanna one. I thought that one was really cool.
Mhm.
Um, the Justin Timberlake one was cool. Um, I am a big music guy, but I like the performance more than anything. So like Lady Gaga's was pretty cool. Like there's been a lot of them. I would say my favorite one would be the Dr. Dre one, just because it was like really nostalgic, I guess, especially people
Mhm.
around our age with all those artists. Like obviously Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and all of them are a little bit older, but like 50 Cent and Eminem and like all the things that they did, like Straight Outta Compton and like just stuff like that. It was a really cool scene. So that was probably my favorite one in the recent memories.
My favorite one of all time, best one, undisputed best one in my brain, Katy Perry. Whenever she gets on the
Yeah.
big
Hmm.
iron, whatever that was, bear or whatever, and she's singing "Roar."
Yeah.
Great moment.
Katy
That was
Perry.
a
Yeah.
great moment and a great Super Bowl at that too.
Yeah. Katy Perry did do a really good halftime performance. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Which
my
that's a
favorite
whole
one.
nother. Once we get into like this year's halftime performance, you get into like politics and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I have no discussion on that. I hope it's a good performance. Like, I don't
I
care
do
if I
too.
understand words that he says. Like, I'm going to watch it. I think hopefully it'll end up being good. We have enough divide in the country that, I might agree with it. Mason might not, or I might not agree with it and Mason might. That needs to be left aside and just enjoy the performance if you can. If you can't, don't sit there and watch it and critique it and do something else.
Yeah, and don't get on Facebook later and talk about how it's the worst one you've ever seen because nobody
Yeah,
cares. But
yeah, exactly.
on to the
Um,
next. Yeah, Justin, you wanted to talk about something specific today. What was that?
okay, so I brought the one up to you, and then there was another one that I had on my mind on Wednesday or Thursday, and then obviously stuff came up and I kind of forgot about it. So Kirk Signetti, just like Ryan Day did and Kirby Smart did, they're going on their winning tour where they're going on podcasts and stuff like that. Kirk Signetti sat down, I want to say with Urban Meyer maybe, or maybe he sat down. Anyways, he was on a podcast. So you have spring ball and you have summer ball, and these are going to be rough estimates because I didn't look into the rules. But in spring ball, before spring practice or before the spring game, you have 15 practices and you can practice 2 hours, right? And then in summer ball, you have 27 practices and you can practice 2 hours. Kirk Signetti went on a podcast and said, for one, he never uses all of his practices. They mainly practice for an hour and 30 minutes in the springtime, 13 times instead of 15 times. And then in the summer, they probably only practice like somewhere around 24 to 25 times. And they very rarely ever go to the 2 hour mark. He lets his coaches go home early. Like he's doing things in a really different way where like Urban Meyer used to like schedule things in certain ways to where like they wouldn't be practicing, but they would get more practices. Like for example, I heard this one from the Minister Sports podcast. Like when Zach Smith was there being a coach, like one of the stipulations was you couldn't have pads on and you couldn't use a football or it would count as a practice. So they went outside with just helmets on and they used one of those tiny footballs to run plays in. Yeah, they're not technically practicing, but they are. Well, Kirk Signetti doesn't do that. He lets his coaches go home early. He does all these things. Like my question is to you, Mason. Like, if this is sustainable, like how many coaches are going to go there and stay there and take pay cuts because Indiana becomes a legitimate program that's a quote unquote big dog, I guess you could say, and you're not having to stay at work 80, 90, 100 hours a week like you are at Georgia and Ohio State. Because I hate to tell you, if Indiana makes it to the Final Four next year and then give them one more year if they make it to the Final Four or even the second round, like Indiana's there to stay. Like if you can do it 4 years in a row, like you're there to stay.
Well, and the reality is, what do you think? Okay, so let's say they go 8-4 next year, and
Yeah,
everyone's asking the question as to why.
yeah.
You want to know the first thing people, Indiana fans, if they're mad, are going
Oh,
to bring
yeah,
up? It's going
yeah,
to be, oh, we don't use all our practices. Like, what is Kurt,
exactly.
like? I love Kurt Signetti, but if that's
Yeah,
exactly what it's going to be. So I think that's a
yeah,
double sided sword in a sense. Like,
thousand
everyone could
percent.
be like, oh, well, look how we're like, I don't know. In celebration, you can say a lot of things that if
Yeah.
you were losing and you said, it would be
Yep.
like a completely different reaction, you know?
And it's this, yeah, and it's the same thing. And I've talked to you about it maybe individually, or maybe I talked about it on the podcast. But it's the same thing as when a backup quarterback comes in the middle of the game. Some reason they always do great because they have no worries in the world. Oh, he threw an interception. Ah, it's the backup quarterback. Oh, he overthrew a ball. Ah, it's the backup quarterback. They don't remember what they did bad. They just remember, oh, Arch Manning threw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. It's like, yeah, but he also threw for 2 picks, but you're not bringing that up. It's the same thing. What is the expectation? What was the expectation of Indiana last year? And then what was the expectation of them this year? It was about the same. If you went 8-4, that's a good season because you're Indiana. Well, then they went to the playoffs, lost 2 games over the last 2 years, and went undefeated this year. So it's like, when is it going to get to a point, like you said, where it's like, now you have expectations and it's not so easy to, be as cocky because it's like, if you fail, people are going to let you know.
Yeah, and we've seen it like through all the Saban years. I remember seeing, or the Bill Belichick Patriot years, or the Yankees, or the Cowboys, or whoever is like, at the top. There's residual hate for the Cowboys, and we haven't went to the Super Bowl since '95, and there's still
Yeah.
residual hate. So then it
Yeah.
becomes like, well, when this team loses, America wins, and so there'll be this up celebration whenever if they sustain this for a little bit, like if Iowa beats Indiana, or even Ohio State. If Ohio State beats Indiana this year, okay, everyone was like,
Yeah.
woo, good job, Indiana. But if they do this 2 more times, like they go to them, they don't even have to win it. Let's say they go to the national championship 2 more times, and then they lose to Ohio State, everyone will be like, oh, awesome, glad someone finally beat Indiana, So it's like,
Yeah.
winning, okay, people say that winning fixes everything. Winning also causes a lot of problems. Maybe
A
not
thousand
in the
percent.
moment, but down
Yeah.
the road it does, because and obviously there's not problem, everyone wants these problems, but like
Yeah.
these higher expectations, the like scrutiny on even when you win will be higher, and everyone will be looking for your downfall. So I think that Kurt Signetti right now, and this is kind of the way it is with everything, it's like whenever you have a dominant season like that and you don't win and you rarely struggle, um, everyone's mindset is, what's going to stop this? Like, what's going to, like, they're unstoppable, they're an unmovable force. But then whenever something will flip eventually. I mean, I hate to tell everyone this, but like, dynasties don't last forever, great things don't
No.
last forever, everything comes to an end. Whenever that does flip, I am interested to see how the smugness and the cockiness of Kurt Signetti is taken from people
Yeah.
whenever he's not on top of the college football world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree. And it's one of those things to where I'm anxious to see how it goes. Because that's the Cinderella story. Like that is our Cinderella story this year. I mean, and really, it's the craziest thing that's probably happening in college football ever. Maybe minus the SMU scandal back in the '80s, but like other than that, like good publicity is that. And you're exactly right. With winning is great, but there are more problems. It's just like more money, more problems. It's the same way. Once you start winning more, you're great. You, as an Arkansas fan, and 4 years ago as an Indiana fan, people would have been like, Ohio State, you're mad about 14-2 and losing in the second round? Like, why? I would have killed for that season. It's like, yeah, but once you do it so many times, that's the norm. That's what it's supposed to be like. That's what's supposed to happen. So it's like, one of those things to where are they going to get complacent or are they going to keep trying to chase that mountaintop?
Yeah, and I think it's very interesting to look at because in like even this is another great example really. The Golden State Warriors, whenever
Yep.
they beat the Cavaliers in 2015, I'll never forget everyone was so happy because LeBron lost. Everyone was so happy. By 2017, 2018, they're like, good God, is anyone ever going to beat the Warriors? Like, this is
Yeah.
never going to end. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? And now everyone looks back on it with nostalgia, kind of, but like, it's going to be if Indiana can
They're the
sustain, it's
time.
going to be
Yeah.
the same way. Everyone's
It's
cheering for him right now. Everyone's so happy. Everyone's clapping for him. Everyone's patting him on the back. But eventually, it will turn to, can anyone beat the? Like, golly, I'm so tired of
It's
this
just
team
like the
winning.
Chiefs. It's just like the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs were god awful for so long, and then they became good. And then now everybody, either you love the Chiefs or everybody hates them. Patrick Mahomes, either you love Patrick Mahomes or you hate him. It's the same exact way. You just get, and they did it in the NBA, which we won't get into all this, but the whole MVP, where it's like you get MVP fatigue, and like for the longest time, LeBron was the greatest player in college or in NBA basketball for like 15 years straight. But it's like he didn't get 15 straight MVPs because people got voters fatigue. It's the same exact way. People are going to get tired of, yeah, for the longest time, Indiana was an underdog. Not anymore. Well, you're eventually going to get tired of Kirk Cignetti talking the shit that he's talking because it's like, dude, just shut up. Somebody please beat him. It's the same exact way. I mean, that's college football. And
But
you're
speaking of
exactly right.
Indiana, let's talk about some teams that in the portal that we
Mm-hmm.
think we were personally impressed by. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, you had like LSU who finished number
Yeah.
one on 24/7 and ESPN's rankings. Um, Penn State's kind of. I was very curious to see how Matt Campbell would do. Obviously, getting there late. I was also interested to see how Kyle Whittingham would do at Michigan. Both of those guys have had great portal turnaround. So,
Yeah.
but what is a team that you were personally impressed by uh, through this portal cycle, kind of moving into the spring?
Um, we'll just save the obvious one for last. Like Arkansas is a big one. I'm not going to bring them up because we'll probably talk in depth about them. Uh, I really hate bringing this team up, but they did really kill it in the portal for the conference that they're playing in and the style of athletes that they're getting. USF, I mean, Brian Hartline put together a really good staff, and then if you look at the players that he got out of the portal to go to USF, I mean, watch out for them being that team that kind of rivals to get into the playoffs next year. That's one. Virginia Tech is an obvious one because they pretty much wiped the floor with Penn State's roster, and then he also kept a lot of the kids there that were already committed. They did lose some, but they didn't lose a terrible amount. Um, those would probably be my top two. Obviously, everybody kind of knew what James Franklin was going to be. I just think with the USF thing, like the caliber of athletes that they brought in was pretty wild for the level of football they're going to be playing.
Yeah, I can agree. I mean, USF had a. I mean, I didn't look into it really in depth, but I did see them making
I
some
mean, they're
noise.
not like top of the country. They're not top 25, but like they're a
Right.
team in the contention, like a Tulane or a Boise State or somebody like that, where like as much as we don't like them getting into the playoffs, they're going to be a playoff contender next year. And they were a playoff contender last year.
A team that I was kind of impressed by, and this is kind of like an easy way out of taking this, but I think it's impressive to see, um, based on what we kind of thought about this program before. Um, Notre Dame. I thought Notre
Yeah.
Dame did very good in the portal, and I thought Marcus Freeman just continues to show that Notre Dame isn't a place where you necessarily have that ceiling. that we thought they had whenever they had Brian Kelly. Um, I mean, as much as I've kind of harped on not liking Notre Dame and the Notre Dame them getting pampered and them getting opportunities that not everyone's able to get because of their situation and da 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 da. I'm still impressed with the way Marcus Freeman's able to build a team each year that comes out and they have an identity normally pretty early. And they're just going to keep getting better. They got a young quarterback. They obviously lost Jeremiah Love, but
Yeah.
my thing is I don't think that Jeremiah Love is irreplaceable. Like it's hard to
Yeah.
replace a guy like that, but I don't think that in the situation Notre Dame is in now, like they'll probably have a good run game next year either way. And
Yeah.
they brought in pieces to kind of like reinforce that in my brain.
Yeah.
So
I
I was very impressed with Notre Dame.
and I hate to tell people this. My way too early top 10. I don't think we're going to have to worry about Notre Dame getting a guaranteed in at 12.
Right. Yeah, I don't
I
think they'll
think
be close to 12.
I think they're going to be probably the number one team in the country because they are just they were good last year. I mean they got left out of the playoffs, but if you just watch their games, like obviously I agree with them getting left out of the playoffs. I'm not saying they should have got in, but me and you talked about it. Like if Notre Dame would have got in, they were probably a Final Four team,
Mm-hmm.
no matter where they got put in the bracket. And then they go out. They didn't have receivers last year. Then they go out and get receivers. They got two from Ohio State that we were not happy about losing. They got their quarterback coming back, and yeah, they lost Jeremiah Love, but they had a good running back before Jeremiah Love. They had a good running back before that running back. Like they do have good running backs, and with a team like that, like your Ohio States, your Notre Dames, your Georgia, your Texas, your Alabama, like they're gonna have good running backs that are probably going to be 1,000+ yard running backs, anyways. You know what I mean? So yeah, Notre Dame's going to be they're going to be really good next year.
Yeah, and one more team to kind of talk about. Like they did a lot. I mean, they do this consistently. I was very. I don't know. I don't want to say I was happy about this because they are a in-conference team that Arkansas has played every year since forever. But Ole Miss kind of kept the train rolling. Pete Golding and the Grove Collective. I mean, they kind of show that maybe the Ole Miss program's bigger than a head coach. And I
Yeah.
mean, they obviously showed that with the run to the semifinals, and that huge win over Georgia. But I think also just the way that they were able to go get some guys in the portal, they were able to retain some guys. They didn't lose Kawan Lacey. They got this hearing for Trinidad Chambliss on the 12th. I think obviously keep an eye on that Trinidad Chambliss thing. But even without Trinidad Chambliss, I still think it's a competitive team, and I think it's a team that it's hard to say they're going to improve after a run to the semifinals, but I think it's a team that I won't be surprised if they're in the playoff conversation again next year because of how they've kind of went after the portal and handled things beyond the regular season and the postseason after Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin did his thing at LSU. I mean, he got the number one. Well, on three, it's the number 4, but he brought in top guy after top guy. Brought in Sam Levitt. Brought in a linebacker from Ole Miss, of course. And he went and grabbed a lot of people's top guys. Brought in some offensive linemen. That was a huge problem for LSU last year. They retained Blake Baker, which is a huge thing for them in their defense. I think LSU will be good again. And I mean, this is like a really long shot call, but man, that game in Oxford in September between Ole Miss and LSU is going
I
to
want to
be.
go to that so bad.
We're definitely going to figure out a way. But just like the way things are gearing up, especially if Trinidad Chambliss is able to come back, we'll know more on the 12th. That is
Yeah.
going to be a powder keg. Even if I don't even go into the stadium, I just want to go to the Grove, which
Yep.
my prayers have went to, the people in Mississippi. They dealt with a lot of the ice.
Yeah.
Specifically the Grove, all those trees, they aren't built for ice. They kind of got, messed up a little bit, but I just want to go stand outside the stadium and see kind of what that atmosphere is like. I just want to feel the animosity. Obviously, I'm not wearing any LSU or anything close to yellow and purple. Not even in the same color wheel range.
Yeah, I hope it's a good game. I hope Trinidad Shameless plays too. I hope they like grant him that. Um, and that I hope that like they don't screw us up. It's got to be a night game, right?
Has
ESPN
to be.
can't not put it like it would just be a disservice if they put it at noon. Um, I mean, I don't know. I'm ready for that game. That's probably the game that I'm looking forward to the most. I think there's 1 or 2 weeks in college football that everybody's already talking about being like absolute cinema, which that'll be cool.
If
Um,
that's the only game on that week, it'll be fun. I don't care.
yeah, that's where I'm at, and especially if Ole Miss beats LSU, like they're probably storming the field, and Lane Kiffin better. I don't know.
Get off fast. You better
Yeah,
run. You better
yeah,
sprint.
he better figure something out quick, fast, and in a hurry because I don't know if he'll make it off if people get a hold of him.
Guys, real quick, if you're watching the live stream, drop us some questions. We will either. I need. Okay, this is something I want going forward. I'm going to start asking on Facebook more, but I want to do mailbag questions because me and Justin we do kind of live in an echo chamber of we live in the state of Arkansas, so everything I'm
Yeah,
hearing about, even on my Twitter feed, is Arkansas football, Arkansas football, Arkansas football.
yeah.
Justin's tapped in on Ohio State, but he's surrounded by Arkansas fans. So I mean, I get a little bit of SEC stuff too, but like, drop us questions about specific things you want to hear about, specific things you want our opinion on, or just drop us questions. You can do that now in the YouTube, and I'll jot them down, or you can save it, comment it on our Facebook later. But yeah, we want more of your questions. Justin, is there another topic that you wanted to kind of go over?
We did find out, which I think it's pretty much. I don't know if it's actually passed, but I'm 90% sure it's passed. They're bumping the college football season back even more.
Mm-hmm.
They're extending the breaks in between bowl games for like I don't know the exact logistics on it. I can look it up. But it's horrible. Everybody's been talking about they need to move it up, and they did the exact opposite. Um,
I almost think the
it
first round is on like the 20th of December, and then the national championship is like January 26th.
Yeah.
So like that, yeah, they did the exact opposite of what everyone had been kind of harping on and talking about for the last month.
Yeah, it's sorry, I'm looking this up. Um I mean it's awful.
Mm-hmm.
They're moving it back. Um so yeah, the first round will be December 18th and 19th, and then um yeah, so December 18th and 19th, and then the quarterfinals will be on the 30th, so almost 15 days apart. And the 30th and the 1st of January will be the quarterfinals, and then you have the semifinals um the 15th, the week of the 15th, January 15th. So you have 15 days in between that, and then the national championship is on the 25th. So there's 10
Mm-hmm.
days in between the national championship and the semifinals, which is, I mean, it's just way too long. So, like, you think about it like this: say Notre Dame they're number one in the country, so they don't play a conference championship game, right? And then so that's a week that they don't play that everybody else played. And then they're not going to play in the first round, which the first round is like 2 weeks or 3 weeks after they're going to be off for like a month and some change. If
Yep.
they like if Notre Dame gets that, and even the teams that don't get that, they're still going to get like 4 weeks off in between conference championship and the second round because there's like almost 15 days. It's just way too much time in between. Because is there breaks like that in between the first round of the NFL? No.
Mm-mm.
Is there breaks like that in between the first, second, or third round of basketball? No. Like, if college football is the only one where they get that 15 and 10-day break in between the first and second round, the second and third round. Like I just don't like. I don't like it. I wish they would move the season up. Don't give them as many breaks, and I really don't understand why they give them as much like as long of breaks as they do.
Well, and I mean, this is an example of this year. Let's see, teams that had first round buys were Texas Tech, Ohio State, Georgia, and who was the other one? Indiana.
Indiana, yeah,
Indiana won, Georgia won, Ohio State lost, and Texas Tech lost. And the like Texas Tech never got going, Ohio State never got going. The year before that, all four teams that had that first round bye lost, and now you're adding time to that. Like I don't think it benefits you to win your conference and go undefeated. That doesn't benefit you at all. I think it
yeah,
hurts you significantly, and I think it sets you up to have a slow start and lose to a hot team. I mean, could you imagine? I mean, like Georgia, for example. I mean, if they would have had even more time off and Ole Miss is primed and ready to go, I mean, that we might not have even got that classic of a game because Georgia might have never got going.
yeah. That's what I mean. Like it's just, it's. I don't think. I don't know, man. And Indiana's the only team that got a first round bye that won. Every other team
Mhm.
lost in their first round bye. So it's like our teams. I don't know. I mean, I don't like doing the whole like conspiracy theory or like this works or that works or whatever. But like, do you think eventually teams might try to not get that first round bye? Or how do you think that's going to work? I mean, I think it would be dumb because everybody's going to want that first round bye. But I mean,
If your goal is a national championship right now, statistically, it does not benefit you to play in a conference championship game and win it.
yeah, that's what I mean.
It
Like,
just
it's
doesn't.
just, it doesn't, I don't know, man. It's really weird to me, honestly. Like, college football right now is weird, and it's not about the best team because whoever wins the Super Bowl, they might not actually be the best team. College football is getting like that, and I'm not just saying that this year, but like Ohio State was the most talented team last year, paper wise. They're going to have the most draft picks in the first round, probably the most draft picks in the first three rounds. Well, guess what? They weren't hot at the right time. It depends on who was hot at the right time, which is great, but I don't want it to eventually lead to people like I think if they ever move rivalry week from being that last week, I could see more people being like, "Yeah, we're sitting all of our starters. We're in the playoffs. We want to play in that first round." I mean, there's too many analytics in football where I think teams are going to really try to break into that analytics standpoint and be like, "Well, if we lose this game and win this game and do this, this, and this, we're going to be in the fifth seed, which leaves us the best opportunity to get to the national championship." And I don't want it to turn out like that.
No, I don't either, but I think it's more realistic. I mean, because every other year besides this expanded playoff that we have, I mean, Ole Miss wouldn't have been in. You wouldn't have got that. So my point with that is like Ole Miss wouldn't have got in. No, um, even Oregon would have had trouble getting in. There's a lot of teams that wouldn't have made it in, and you would have from an entertainment perspective. Um, the sport has grown. Like the 16 team playoff has given us more classic games and better games than the 14 playoff did. But as far as are we really crowning the national champion? I would say this year, yes. Um, Last year, I mean, a two-loss team, it's kind of unprecedented, but most talent, yes. But like, there's a lot in there that like I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have ever said that those teams were the best teams in years past. I guess is what I'm saying. Because if you lose two games, it's hard for me to say that you were one of the best teams. With the new 16 team playoff, it's more or 12 team playoff moving towards 16. It is more about who's hot, and it does
Yeah.
give more of an entertainment, but it's just I don't know. It's harder
Like,
to say that they're the best team.
yeah. And I think it takes away, like, I'm not saying it takes away from anything. Like, Ohio State was the most talented team, but you can't be the most talented and just not win your games. But they're like, well, we were the most talented. Like, no, Indiana was the best team this year because they were the best team all year long.
Yeah.
But I don't, I don't want it to like. negate, kind of like you see in basketball, where it's like, oh, we're going to sit these people or not play these people. And I don't think it ever will, but I think the dynasties are over with, honestly. And I don't think if we had Bear Bryant or if we had Nick Saban in college football right now, I still don't think that there would actually be a dynasty anymore because there's too much. The thing that worries me is coaches leave and go to the NFL because it is too much, and we don't have good coaching in college football.
This is my last little question, but how many more national champions or championships do you think Alabama could have won with an expanded playoff if they would have had it from 2010 on? Because there was a
I
couple
mean,
years where they'd lose a game and not make the BCS championship.
yeah. And I think BCS really, like, a lot of people loved it, and I did, but I think there was a lot, like, I wish we could bring back the BCS rankings, but I didn't like just having two teams because there was a lot of teams back then. Like, look at I mean, there probably a bunch, Mason, honestly, like a lot. Once they lost that one game, but like, look at like the 2015 Ohio State. We lost to Michigan State, but everybody that we had in that 2014 season when we won the national championship against Alabama and Oregon, everybody came back. So it's like there's a team right there, or which that was negated because of the tattoo gate. But I mean, even back in like USC, back like around the early 2000s, and Texas and Miami around that time, like I just wish we could have really had the four, even the 12-team playoff all the way back, a long time ago. I think the 4-team while, but I really don't. Sorry if I uncut out or whatever. I got a phone call, but I really don't think that like I don't know, man. Like where do you see it like needing to be cut off where like you get to a point to where like okay, the teams outside of that level won't win anymore because we had Miami made it. They were a top 10 team, so it's like we at least got to have 10 of them. But like where does it stop? Because for the longest time, a lot of people were like, oh well, if they're not a top 4 team, they're not going to win. Well, 2 years in a row, a top 4 team has not even been to the national championship.
Besides Indiana.
Besides Indiana, yes. Sorry.
I'm fine with 12. Honestly, if it stays 12 forever, I'm fine with it. I mean, 16 benefits Arkansas, but as a college football fan, 12's fine for me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think if we go to 16, like if you're, like, say you're an Arkansas, I'm just using Arkansas for example because as of right now, they don't really have that game that's like a rivalry week, I guess you could say. Maybe they'll bring it back, but I don't like as of right now they don't have one. But like, let's say Arkansas goes undefeated all the way through, except they played Notre Dame at the beginning of the season. Or not Notre Dame. Let's just say they played Missouri at the beginning of the season and they lost. But then other than that, they went all the way undefeated, and they could play Tennessee or Vanderbilt at the end of the season. And if they win, they make it to the national champion, or they make it to the college football, or they make it to the conference championship. It's like, well, we don't want to make it to the conference championship for one because it's an extra game. For two, we don't want to we're not going to get the first round bye anyways. So there's really no point. We're going to get in for a 16 team. Like we're just going to sit all of our starters and lose this game on purpose. That's the only, like with the 16 team, I feel like there's just going to be a lot more finagling the schedule and trying to like benefit your team outside of like just playing the games and winning them.
Well, and I think a big part of it is like we had this conversation for a long time this year of well, who's deserving, and expanding it to 12. We thought we'd have less of those conversations. Well, that didn't happen.
It just makes it more.
Like we have them more. Notre Dame, Ole Miss, Miami, Alabama, whoever. Like we're having this conversation of who's more deserving all the time. And whenever you open it up to 16, the G5's still going to want to get in. They're going to want their opportunities. Like Duke would have had a case, which Duke's going to have a case this year with 12, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But like,
and then
there's just a lot of doors opening in that situation for just a lot more like arguments, which I guess for an entertainment sake, that's better. But as
Yeah.
far as for like the product, I don't feel like 16 helps the product, in my opinion.
No, it's just going to open up more arguments, and then you get into like, well, this three-loss team lost to this team, and this team, and it gets into like, do they like schedules and like, it's just a lot. I want to keep it at 12. If it goes to 16, I won't be mad. Um, that's kind of where I'm at. Last question I had, well, not last question I have for you. So obviously the Olympics are on, the Winter Olympics. That's always cool. Us being in the South, we don't really know. Like I snowboard occasionally. I've been like twice in the last 10 years, so I don't want to say that like I'm some snowboard advocate. But I know what to do, so that's cool for me to watch because it's like, dang, that's hard. Because when I went snowboarding in Breckenridge this year, like I jumped maybe 6 inches off the ground and I felt like Shaun White, embodied through me. Um, so like seeing that's really cool. Curling is really boring, but like if you know what they're doing, like it's kind of cool. The bobsledding's cool. Like there's some cool things, but like we don't really know about it. The one thing that I will encourage everybody to go watch that's watching the show is if it happens, Canada and the United States have a chance to play each other in hockey this year in the Winter Olympics. Well, if people don't know, little backstory: last year they had the battle of the. Do you know what it's called, Mason? The
Yeah, it was
battle
like
of
the
the.
Four Nations face off or whatever.
Yeah, the
They
Four
did it
Nations.
instead of having a traditional all-star game like they do in the NBA and the NFL. They had this
Yep.
Four Nations face off.
Yeah, and they do it. Do they do it every year? Do they do it once
That was the
every?
first time ever.
Okay, so because I don't keep up with hockey, I just know this. So first time ever, it was United States, Canada, probably Germany, I would assume.
It was like Finland and Sweden or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and the reason they do that is because in the NHL, that's probably where the most players, like go to or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like Giannis Antetokounmpo is not going to play NBA basketball for the U.S. He's not going to play for the U.S. team. He's going to go play for his home country. Same thing. Well, Canada has like 50% of NHL locked up in players. They come over here and play, but when they play for, the Olympics or like the Four Nations, they go play for Canada. Well, the United States and Canada played in this Four Nations tournament. Everybody that was there booed the national anthem, and in the first 15 seconds, bench clearing brawl. And they fought the whole game. Like it wasn't even really a hockey match, it was just a fight. Well, what's funny about it is all these players, like some of these players play on the same team in the NHL. Like some of them
Mm-hmm.
might play for the Miami Panthers or, whoever, the Penguins or whoever. I don't keep up with hockey. I mean, I will every once in a while, but it's not a sport that I watch because I didn't grow up playing it. But if you see that Canada and the United States are going to play each other, it might be the biggest thing that happens, especially if it's for gold, since the Miracle on Ice, because of everything that's kind of wrapped itself around, the Canada versus the United States in hockey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I will say this: hockey is a really fun sport whenever it's really intense. I
Yeah,
had a blast with the Four Nations last year, and I really enjoy NHL playoff hockey. I am excited. That's the only thing about the Winter Olympics I
yeah.
even pay attention to is the is the hockey. But that's all I got, man. Do you got anything else for the show?
That's pretty much it. Keep up with us. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram and all that. Me and Mason are going to do a better job at kind of trying to keep our social platforms up to date. It's hard, but we're going to do a good job. We're at least going to bring a show a week. It's probably going to be between the Thursday and Sunday range. But just kind of keep up with us. The best way to look and see when it's going to be is on Facebook. So follow us on Facebook. It's still 3 Deep South. Like and subscribe. Leave us some comments. Even if you leave comments on this video after you watch it, me or Mason will go back through before we do our next show and read some comments and get that in the show that we're doing that week. So keep up to date with us, and we appreciate you guys. But that's pretty much all I got, Mason.